When it comes to Space Marines of both loyalist and heretical flavours, and to a lesser extent the Imperial Guard, Games Workshop have created an awful lot of ways to represent them on the tabletop, be it through upgrade kits, special characters, and even entire units unique to one subfaction. Simply put, there are many ways to represent your personal favourite chapter, legion or regiment on the tabletop without that much effort. However, the Xenos factions have not had the same treatment. Many of their more iconic subfactions tend to get boiled down into specialist units. Eldar have their Aspect Warriors, Tau have their Kroot and Vespid allies. But beyond paint schemes and decals, it's difficult to represent those craft worlds, seps, leagues, high fleets, cults, and clans straight out of the box. Which is where kitbashing comes in, and it will be the latter of those subfactions that I'll be tackling today. So join me as I show you how you can represent Goffs, Evil Sunz, and Bad Moon clans on your own Orc minis. And I kick things off by tackling the Goffs. I decided to use the new Orc boys from the Armageddon box set as the basis for these conversions. By showing you some ideas on the most basic unit from the army, you can then go and apply those techniques to other units too. Now, the name Goff isn't because this clan enjoys blasting the Cure while they stomp off to war, although they do like to wear black. Instead, their name has origins in the historical Goths, who were a Germanic people that raided the Western Roman Empire until it eventually collapsed. As such, I decided to loosely base my Goffs' appearance on their namesakes, and this led me to pushing the armoured aspects of these boys a little further. I started this out by grabbing one of the helmeted heads from the Tank Busters kit before attaching the Iron Jaw and then gluing it to the neck. Surprisingly, this head fit nicely against the torso without any trimming required. While not quite historically accurate, nothing screams barbarian more than a horned helmet, and I reached for my Dead Animal Bits kit to help me with this stage. From the kit, I liberated a couple of the smaller cow horns, clipped and trimmed them down, and glued them to the sides of the helmet. I then continued up armouring my Goff by gluing a second shoulder pad taken from the Squig Hard Boys kit. Then, with another plate taken from the Tank Busters, I used my saw to cut it down into several smaller panels. After trimming these down a little, I then attached these across the Orc's torso to create a crude armoured vest. We are firmly in convention season now, and anyone who has ever run a trade stand like I recently did at UK Games Expo or played through a 3-day wargaming tournament knows that keeping your energy and focus up is a massive challenge. You're either on your feet talking to hundreds of people, or you've got back-to-back games with only a tiny window between rounds. By the afternoon, you're flagging, and before long your choices are either to queue up for an overpriced coffee or rely entirely on sugary, fizzy energy drinks. Fortunately, today's sponsor, Holy, has a much better alternative. They make these fantastic powder-based energy drinks that are built to provide sustained focus with zero sugar. Unlike standard energy drinks that leave you sugar crashing right in the middle of your next game, Holy Energy gives you a much steadier and smoother boost that keeps you going through those long afternoons without your brain turning to mush. And the convenience is perfect for travel. Instead of lugging heavy, expensive cans in your bag alongside your rulebooks, dice, and miniatures, you can literally just drop a few of their sachets or one of their tubs into your pack. Grab yourself some water at the venue, give it a quick shake, and you have a refreshing drink ready to go with zero fuss. But the best part is you get all of this convenience without compromising on flavour. Holy have a massive range to choose from, and in addition to their energy drinks, you also have hydration drinks, iced teas, and even milkshakes, all of which have plenty of options to choose from. My personal favourite is Strawberry Shock, by the way. But don't just take my word for it. Give Holy a try for yourself and streamline your next tournament, trade event, or busy weekend. I'd recommend picking up their Starter Set Deluxe, which gives you a sample box of their energy, iced tea, and hydration, and even milkshakes, so you can find your favourites. Plus, if you order before July 19th, they're throwing in a premium thermo shaker worth £35 entirely for free. Just scan the QR code or use my link below. If you're new to Holy, you can use my code WARGAMER5 for £5 off your first order. And if you're a returning customer, use WARGAMER for 10% off your entire order. Thanks again to Holy for sponsoring the channel. Now, let's get back to those orcs. Following the armor, the next stereotypical barbarian detail that I wanted to add was some fur pelts, and rather than raiding my Space Wolves bits box, I decided to sculpt my own. To kick this off, I took some Tamiya putty, cut out a small amount of both colour and rolled them together. With the mixing complete, I allowed the putty to cure for about 20 minutes. Now that the mixture was a little less sticky and a little firmer, I then pressed it across the Orc shoulders, smoothing it out into an even layer across them. To create that fur texture, I started by cutting in a cross-hatch pattern. Each of the diamonds left behind would create the basis of a larger tuft. Using a pointed sculpting tool, I then pressed in the top of each diamond and lifted up the bottom to create the tuft, starting with the bottom row and working my way up so the fur overlapped itself. Once I was done, I left the putty to cure fully overnight and finished off my goff with an extra knife that I sourced from the commandos. Next up were the Evil Sunz, and these guys are the embodiment of Red Ones Go Faster. But how do we build an orc obsessed with speed and vehicles without mounting him on a bike, buggy, or deathcopter? Well, my first solution to this was to dress him as if he spends most of his time being transported around on a truck and had briefly dismounted to do some crumping. And with this, I started out with a head from the deathcopters. This particular head wasn't quite as well fitting as the last one though, so I needed a little more of that putty from earlier. I first pressed a small ball into the neck cavity and then mounted the head to the torso. This pushed out the putty from the gaps, and I used a slightly moistened silicone tool to smooth out and remove any excess. While I waited for the putty to cure, I grabbed a jerry can from the Cadian Upgrades kit and began removing the carrying arm. My reasoning here was that the Passionate Orcs would carry tools and fuel with them to both maintain the vehicles they ride on, but also as a kind of vehicle-based Orc equivalent of a Space Marine reliquary. After smoothing out the cut, the can was glued to the Orc's waist, and I used a little more of that putty to create a strap to hold it in place. I first rolled some out into a thin strand, laid it across the can, and then lightly pressed down to create a flat strip. After a little tidying, both the neck and strap were then left to cure overnight. Continuing with my vehicle parts being holy items theme, I grabbed an exhaust from the Flash Kits kit with the intention of mounting it to the shoulder pad. After clipping down and trimming, the exhaust was glued into place. My final Evil Sunz detail was of the mood-enhancing kind. I imagined that the Orcs of the Evil Sunz clan would enjoy the sensation of moving fast so much that they would easily figure out a way to distill crushed grots into some sort of uber caffeine. To represent this on the model, I took some parts from another of my own bits kits. This time it was the smaller vials from the Sorcerer's Spoils. After drilling small, shallow 1mm holes into the Orc shoulder, I then glued the vials lid first into them. This left me with an Orc who'd loaded up with a few vials of Grotster energy and was ready to join his fellow Evil Sunz. The final clan that I would be tackling were the Bad Moons. These guys are practically an army of flash gits in the sense that they are both the wealthiest and most fashion conscious of all Orcs. So to begin this model, I started out by removing the studs from the straps before gluing another tank buster pad over the top of one. And what better way for an Orc to spend those teeth in a squiggy bank than on copious amounts of ammo? From the Space Marine Intercessors kit, I took the small Marksman Honors piece and removed the skull from each. These bullets were then glued to my Orc shoulder pad to create a kind of ammunition epaulet. I then continued to attach even more ammunition across the shoulder straps and waist with pieces taken from various Orc kits. With this Bad Moon Orc suitably laden with ammo, it was now time to give him a stash of teeth. This was achieved quite simply by grabbing some pouches from my Sorcerer's Spoils kit, shaving down one side and gluing them to the belt. My final detail to add was in the form of some shooter upgrades. And by upgrade, I just mean made to look better rather than actually being heavier hitting or more accurate. I did this by adding a superfluous but impressive looking scope that I crafted from another Sorcerer's Spoils part, this telescope. I should mention that both my Dead Animal Bits and Sorcerer's Spoils kits are available for purchase from my web store, www.sparepartsemporium.com. After clipping away a few segments, I bent the telescope slightly and reassembled before mounting it to the gun, leaving me with a finished Bad Moons Orc. I was now ready to start the painting, which I kicked off with the Dead Animal Bits spray primer from the Colour Forge. This is colour matched to Rakar flesh, so is ideal for those earthy tones and bright paint jobs that feature on the Orcs. For each of these Orcs, I'll be showing you how to paint the common colours first and then the clan specifics after that, and I'll include some timestamps below to make navigating a little easier. Now when I paint, I like to paint from the inside out. That means painting the deeper areas first so you don't ruin the other painted areas when you're trying to reach that tricky spot beneath an arm. The quote-unquote deepest part of most Orcs are their skin, which I tackled with a base coat of Royal Cloak from the Tooth and Coat range. Now this might seem an odd for the usual green colour of the Orcs, but the purple will help me to achieve a cooler, less yellow green skin colour. It will also allow me to have a strong contrasting colour in those recessed areas. Once all the skin had been coated in the Royal Cloak, I then started to build up the green. For my first step, I used some Orc Hide, but first mixed in a little water to reduce its intensity. As I applied the paint, I also left that purple visible in the deeper recesses of the musculature. Once the first layer had dried, I built up more green and covered a slightly smaller area than before, drawing away from those deeper areas. I then followed this up with some edge highlights of Goblinoid Green. On top of the previous two colours, I was able to start forming a gradient between the purple and green, and this lighter green was used to pick out the more raised details. Finally, for the most prominent points of the Orcs features, I added a few small dots of Troll Snot Green. And before I go on, I just wanted to give a shout out to a long-time supporter of mine, a patron who has recently started making their own brushes, which I'm using to highlight these orcs with. These brushes are from Twisted Tower Studios' Dark Arts range, and if after seeing how well they did at painting up all of these orcs, you'd like to check them out for yourself, I'll include all the relevant links below. Next, I tackled the teeth, nails, and off-white points of the clothing, things like the undershirts and wrappings that an orc wouldn't be great at keeping clean. I started off with a base coat of Panzer Yellow, and then proceeded to darken down the recesses with the light orangey brown of Seraphim Sepia wash. To highlight, I then started out with some Flak Gun Yellow, before adding a few spots of Ambush Yellow. For the darker pieces of clothing, I first began with some Death Reaper, before proceeding to build up some blue-grey highlights by using some Cold Corpse Blue, which I followed with a few small dots of Wolf Grey for those sharper points. To paint the leather, like the Orcs' boots, belts and straps, I decided to go with the reddish brown of Cuirass Leather. The recesses were then darkened with a wash of Oblivion Black, which I followed with some highlights, first with Boar Hide, and then with Fur Cloak. The next details to tackle were the metallic ones, and I first focused on the steel details by giving them all a base coat of Dwarven Iron. Then, in order to give the weapons and equipment a grimier, more unkempt appearance, I opted to give the steel details a wash of Battle Mud. This brown shading was a good start, which I built upon by applying some heavily thinned down spots of rust orange to, unsurprisingly, represent surface rust forming on the metal. The steel areas were then finished off with an edge highlight of the brighter steel colour of Surcoat's Silver. The gold and brass details were a little more straightforward. I began with Spartan Bronze, washed them again with Battle Mud, and then finished off all of those generic colours with a highlight of Dragon's Gold, which brought me neatly to the clan-specific colours. Starting out with the Evil Sunz, I first painted all of the armor panels with some Sanguine Scarlet, washed them with some Hellion Red Wash, and then highlighted with some Demon Red, which I followed with a few small dots of Fanatic Orange. The Bad Moons were just as straightforward, with me achieving their iconic colour using some Skulker Yellow, followed by some Hazard Yellow Wash to lightly darken the recesses. To bring out those edges and surface scratches, I then used some Yellow Flame, before finishing off with a few small dots of Craven Yellow as the extreme highlight. Last but not least was the Goth, and that iconic black armor was achieved by first painting everything with some Doom Death Black. When it came to painting the Goth's highlights, I wanted something that would still stand out against the darker cloth that I'd painted earlier, so I opted to use warmer greys to highlight. So I began with Dungeonstone Grey, followed by a few small dots of Wizard Grey. I then decided to paint the embossed detailing on the armor white, and to do this I began with some Cock Carradine Grey, and then highlighted with White Star. All that was left now was the fur and the horns on the Goth's helmet, and I painted both of these in the same way. I began with Dust Bowl, washed them with Battle Mud, before proceeding with a highlight of Sandstone, and finally Temple Stone. And with that, my orcs just needed a simple basing scheme and a coat of varnish, which left me with this. And here we have the converted orcs of 3 of the big 6 clans. My intention with this guide was to give you a few ideas that you can apply to your own orcs should you want them to have a little more clan identity. You don't have to use every technique on every orc in your army, but sprinkling a few of these details across your force makes a huge impact to the overall flavour of your army. If you enjoyed this guide and would like to see me tackle the Blood Axes, Snakebite and Death Skulls in a future video, then let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you wanted to give these conversions a go for yourself, I'll include some links to the kits and paints that I used down in the description, along with some affiliate links where you can get your own. I've also partnered with Warhouse, so if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or any country for that matter, and you're looking for some discounted Warhammer, be sure to follow my links to them down below. But before I go, I'd like to give all of my Patreon supporters and channel members a huge thank you. I'm getting back to a more regular release schedule now, so I really appreciate all those supporters who stuck with me during that quiet period and made this very video that you're watching possible. Even if you're not able to support me financially, just by watching this far, leaving me a like and subscribing, you're doing a massive amount to support me in making more of these videos. But if you would like to help out, you can check out my website, sparepartsemporium.com, to pick up those kits I mentioned earlier, or you can become a Patreon supporter or channel member. Members get early access to ad-free videos, exclusive merchandise, and even your name in the credits. Simply follow my Patreon link below or hit the join button, just like my top Patreon supporters did, who are Andrew Marston, Banyevrian, Berserker, Dakota Gaburi, Daniel Dowling, David Ernst, David Smith, Gade Star 530, George Kanzini Roberts, Little Templar, Maciej Savitsky, Matt Mini-Minute, Sam Sepulveda, Son of Sevatar, Swedsman, Tim, and Zeth27. And my top channel members, who are Andrew Chell, Bon Johnson, Chris Toomey, Dante, Dave, Doug H, Guy Bazant, Jacob Goldsmith, John Gibbs, Kaiser Reich, Kaiser Waffle 11, Lariat11, Liminal Journey, Mark Taylor, Misa Pogon, Nudix Paints, Omnitom, Patrick K, Philip Poyer, Rhino Shaughnessy, SO, TTS Dark Arts, The Sire Acquired, and Whale Tussler. So until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.